Hello and welcome back to the NEET sessions by me, Pooja Joshi. Today here we shall be continuing with the part of digestive system that we have left in the previous session. Alright, so until now, just a short recap within a minute. We have covered the portion of the nutrition wherein we understood the different types of nutritions that all the organisms in different forms have when it comes to process of fueling the body. All right, the way the food is taken into the body in different forms. Next we came and studied about the different varieties of food components that the body requires in the form of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, vitamins and minerals. How important each of these molecules or the group of molecules are in order to fuel our body and generate energy so that the life processes are kept on. Furthermore, we came and studied about the relation between the alimentary canal and the different digestive glands, just the gist of it, into which the detail of which we shall be moving in today. Alright, so in the previous session, we just stopped at this particular diagram, alright, of the human digestive system, wherein we saw that, the digestive system is located, it starts from the mouth, okay, then it has the pharynx region, followed by the esophagus region, which is a long tubular structure, followed by the bulged region, the highest, the space, highest lumen that of the alimentary canal is formed by the stomach. Furthermore, which moves into the small intestine. The small intestine is the longest tube in the entire, longest length of the region of the alimentary canal, and then we have then it is the large intestine, which ends with the anus. This alimentary canal has various associated glands with it, such as the liver, the pancreas, the pancreas, various glands present along the walls of the stomach and along the walls of the intestine. Before that, the first glands are the salivary glands. Alright. Yeah. So keeping this in mind, just have a proper look at the entire digestive system, because furthermore we will be needing the memory of this in your mind so that we can correlate the concepts coming up further. Just look at this. Mouth, which is also called as the oral cavity. Mouth possesses the tongue and set of dentition with 32 teeth in it. Mouth also has the salivary glands. Salivary glands are of three types. The parotid gland, which is located in front of your ears, okay, inside your cheek, in front of the ears, the location of parotid gland is seen, and parotid glands are the largest salivary glands. Please take a note of it. Parotid glands are the largest salivary glands. The next set of salivary glands, remember they are all in pairs, okay. You have parotid gland in front of your right ear and your left ear. You have sublingual gland beneath lingua. The term lingua means tongue. Okay, when you just roll your tongue up, you won't be able to see it though, but that is a location where the sublingual salivary glands are present. Okay, they are also two in pairs. Suppose this is the portion of your tongue. You can see the blood veins run here. Okay, so on either sides here you will find a pair of sublingual salivary glands. Then we have the submandibular. Another term for submandibular is submaxillary as well. Okay, so I'll just write it down here. Submaxillary, sorry for the lag. Okay, submaxillary salivary gland as well. Okay, so these three pairs pour similar kind of secretion, which includes mucus, inorganic salts, and an important enzyme called the salivary amylase. Okay, further the esophagus. as I told you, mentioned presence of O is also fine. So esophagus is a long tubular structure. Before that is the pharynx, which is the common area for the trachea and esophagus. Moving on, the next part is the stomach, the pancreas. Just see where the pancreas are located. This yellow structure is the pancreas. It is sandwiched between the stomach and the large intestine. It is a structure which is located here. Okay. Then we have the liver, the largest gland in the human body, and a green color structure called as a gallbladder. Just note what it is. It plays a major role further. Then we have the small intestine. Small intestine has got 3 regions. We cannot exactly distinguish the 3 regions when we just look at the small intestine. But histologically, that is, internal tissue arrangement is different in this particular small intestine. We have initial shortest region called as a duodenum. Okay, the C-shaped structure that we see here, okay, that is the duodenum region. Then we have jejunum and the ileum. Jejunum and ileum are relatively similar in their length, okay, and this is the region where they are completely coiled. Moving on to the next part, the ileum then opens into the large intestine. Large intestine is wider, that's why the name is large intestine, okay, wider, it has a larger lumen. Large intestine has got the region, this is called as a colon, okay, ascending colon, transverse colon, and the descending colon. So these are the 3 colons. This region, entire tubular square arranged region, is the ascending colon, transverse colon, and the descending colon. Then comes the part called as the rectum. Rectum is a region where the fecal matter is stored for a short period of time until and unless there is an urge for defecation. Anal canal is a part through which the fecal matter is pushed ahead, and anus is the opening through which the fecal matter is eliminated out. Here I have missed out on this point. What is the sigmoid colon? Sigmoid colon is a typical S-shaped structure which is located between the rectum, which is located before the rectum. Alright. Cecum is a part which is the junction, from where the small intestine opens, the small intestine, it's opening into the large intestine. Immediately post that, there is a region below where the appendix is attached. Okay. Coming to this appendix, it's a very interesting structure which actually plays no role in the human body as such. But appendix proves that we have common ancestors, other animals, when you look at the cattle and other herbivore organisms, they also possess an appendix which is very active in those organisms. And what does this appendix do? It produces an enzyme called as cellulase. Okay, cellulase enzyme is going to be working on cellulose. Cellulose is a type of polysaccharide which is present in plants. Okay, now let us try to correlate how all of this is. It's just extra information which is really you need to take a note of it. Most of the herbivores, let us particularly consider a cow. Okay, a cow has a very active appendix which produces the enzyme cellulase. Alright, just a minute. Cellulase enzyme is produced in the appendix. Appendix is active in herbivores. We have just taken an example of a cow. Okay. Now, why is it not working in us? And why is it working only in the herbivores? Because we need to try to connect the dots here. Herbivores consume only plant materials which are raw and not cooked. Okay, and in plants, where do you find this cellulase enzyme? Cellulase is going to act on, as I told you, cellulose. Okay, where do you find this cellulose? I just mentioned that it is a polysaccharide, right, found in plants. to digest this cellulose particularly. Okay, where is this rigid structure of the plant cell? What is it? It is the cell wall. Okay, the cell wall is composed of cellulose, and cellulose is it's a tough structure, tough component to get digested, and it needs strong enzymatic action, and the enzyme cellulase does that work. Now, in case of cattle, in case of a cow, it continuously keeps grazing, okay, on the plant materials and the grass and all, and to digest that rigid structure of a polysaccharide like that of the cellulose, you need cellulase enzyme. Otherwise, the digestive system will completely get upset, because if there is no proper digestion of the major content, that is cellulose, that's going to cause problem, right? So cellulase enzyme breaks down cellulose and releases required contents within the herbivore. But when we come to humans, do we eat anything raw? It's a very rare sight, right? Generally, humans are used to, especially the modern humans like us, our body is used to consuming cooked food, which is very soft, almost partially broken down. Then throughout the digestive system, there are so many enzymes that break it down furthermore. Okay, so such that by the time this food reaches the large intestine, the cellulose which is there, it is already broken down. Even if any of the cellulose content is there in the body, it is already broken down. So as such, the appendix and the cellulase that it produces has no role in humans. But by nature, that organ has still not completely vanished from the body. It is there as it's a waste material, vestigial organ. You will study about this in a part of in chapter of 12th grade. All right. So there in evolution part, you will study about the vestigial organs where appendix will be mentioned. So you need to remember that it is for the production of cellulase enzyme, which in humans plays no role, and that's the reason it has no major function here. But because there are chances that all inflammation of this particular organ might take place in case there is any bacterial or any kind of pathogenic infection happening to it. The appendix may get inflated, undergo inflammation. When this happens, there is severe abdominal pain, especially on the right side of the lower abdomen, and most of the times if it is really severe, then there is a small operation that is done where this appendix is removed off. Okay, that condition is called as appendicitis. All right, condition where the appendix is inflamed, that condition is called appendicitis. All right, yeah. So moving ahead, so I hope all of you have taken a note of different parts. Okay, the geography of your body, what part is present where. All right, so we'll just go to the next slide. Yeah, now in detail we shall be moving into each and every part of the human digestive system, starting with the buccal cavity. Buccal cavity is a closed structure which has mouth on one side of the opening. The next opening is into the digestive system itself. All right. So this buccal cavity is guarded on the sides by the cheeks. Cheeks are composed of smooth muscles. So if this is your face, the sides of the buccal cavity are covered with cheeks, which in turn are composed of smooth muscles. I hope you all know what smooth muscles are. Okay, these muscles do not have any striations. All right, these cells have tapering ends with a centrally placed nucleus. All right, yeah. So cheeks are on the lateral sides of the buccal cavity. Palate is the one that forms the roof of the buccal cavity. All right, when you say roof of the buccal cavity, it is showing the above portion of the buccal cavity. We have the tongue on the floor of the buccal cavity. All right, and then we have teeth aligned on the lower and the upper jaws. Okay, so there are a set of dentition, we'll call that as. Okay, so this is just for your representation. Do not take this diagram very seriously. Okay, yeah, just to show you that the lateral sides have of the buccal cavity has cheeks. I have mentioned another term here called as hard and soft palate. When you just try to touch your tongue, you can do it right now as well. Try to touch your tongue on the roof of your buccal cavity. You can see that the anterior portion, the front portion, is quite hard when compared to the portion behind, the posterior region. Those parts are distinguished as hard palate and the soft palate. Okay, yeah. Then you have tongue, which is composed of smooth muscles. Remember, tongue is one of the strongest muscles in the human body. Strongest muscle in the human body until the uterus comes into picture. Okay, you all know that uterus is the female reproductive structure. It's a part of female reproductive system, and that particular structure allows the development of a fetus and extends its size beyond its limit. Okay, and again stretches back. Capacity of a muscle is measured by its flexibility. Alright, so uterus, for that matter, is actually the strongest muscle, but in general, when we consider any animal, for that matter, it should be tongue, which is the strongest strongest muscle. Sorry. Yeah, the next part present in the buccal cavity are we have a set of dentition, which includes teeth that are of different types. Now you can see some terms here like the acrodont, thecodont, diphyodont, polyphodont, homodont, heterodont, plurodont, bunodont, solenodont, lophodont, cecodont, carnassial, and crocodilian. Alright, so what are these? So many terms. We have just studied about what is thecodont. Human teeth are said to be thecodont, diphyodont, and heterodont. Now what about the others? We shall just come to that one by one. Okay, so let us first consider, let us first study what human tooth dentition is. Human dentition is said to be thecodont in nature. What are thecodont type of teeth? When the teeth are embedded into the bony socket of the skull, they are said to be thecodont. Okay, that is one. Wherein the teeth are firmly attached to the gums, which in turn have the bones, that is a part of the skull beneath that. Okay, diphyodont type of teeth are the ones where there are two sets of teeth seen in humans. That is, one set are the milk teeth, okay, that fall off and regenerate over the period of time. Once the second set of teeth, which are called as the permanent teeth, once these fall off, then we will have to visit a dentist for a new set of artificial teeth, because humans cannot regenerate once their second set of teeth are lost. Okay, so please be very careful. Yeah, next one, heterodont is another type of dentition categorization, which is based on the varieties of teeth that the humans have. When we just look into our mouth, we see that different types of teeth are present, right? One is flat, one has a pointy end, one has a one is somewhat like this. All right, so these are called different types of teeth based on their different functions. We have incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Well, the dental formula that is formed is based on this particular categorization. All right. Now we'll just move to the other types. So we know what heterodont is. Somewhat the opposite of it is the homodont. Homodont teeth, animals that possess homodentition or homodont type of teeth, do not have any varieties or differentiation in the types of teeth that they have. Okay, all of their teeth are similar. They have all similar type of teeth like this. Okay, throughout their jaw. Then coming to this acrodont teeth. Okay, acrodont teeth are also somewhat opposite of thecodont. Thecodont are the ones that are embedded within the bony socket. Acrodonts are the ones that are just growing above. They do not have any roots. They do not have any base within the jaw. They just grow above. Okay. Yeah. Next, polyphodont is somewhat opposite of the diphyodont. Like diphyodont, as I told you, have two sets of teeth, right? Milk and permanent. Polyphodont, the organisms that exhibit polyphodentition, they have regeneration throughout their lifespan. Every time they lose, it reappears again. Every time a teeth is lost, it reappears again. How lucky are these animals, right? They don't have to go to any dentist. Yeah, moving to the next one. Purodont. Okay, Purodont are the ones which have different types of varieties of teeth. Okay, Bunodont is based on the type of crown that is present. Okay, I just have images of all these in the next slide. We will go to that. Solenodont is also based on the structure of the teeth as it appears above the jaw. Okay, same as with the Lophodont. These are teeth that have ridges, especially such teeth. When we see a tooth like this, there are various ridges here. These ridges help in chewing the food to a very like a proper mixer grinder, like properly whatever is taken into the mouth is perfectly made into a paste. And just recollect what type of organisms might be having such teeth. Okay, right, the herbivores. In case you thought of herbivores, then you're right. Herbivores, as I told you, they consume all raw food, and that has to be properly masticated and chewed so that it gets digested well. Such ridges present on the teeth help in this particular function. Bunodont type of teeth are also seen in elephants. Okay, crocodilian, the word itself says, alligators and crocodiles possess such teeth. Okay, Secodont also is similar to that of the ridges type. Alright, so this is for your information. Most importantly, they will ask is about your Thecodont, Heterodont and Diphyodont when it comes to human. But others are just for your information. And also, from NEET perspective, this is a little getting into the topic and understanding more about it. Alright, moving on to the next slide. Now, this covers the buccal cavity and teeth. We will be moving. Yeah, just coming to this image over here, you can see that the mammalian teeth can be classified by its shape and enamel, as I told you. Solenodont, crescent shaped enamel that folds. Look at this, Solenodont, such teeth. Okay, we find such teeth in deers and cattle, as I told you, because herbivores, as I told you, the main function is to chew food properly before it gets, it has to be mechanically broken down really well. Next is Lophodont, transverse enamel folds. Look at this, transverse ridges. These are one side of the dentition. This is okay. You have rabbits are example of it, and horses. Bunodont, okay. Even human teeth actually exhibit Bunodont. Our molars are Bunodonts in nature. They have four, cusps like this. Alright, which will help in grinding of the food. Next we have is Secodont, which is found in cats and dogs. Okay, so this is how there is spacing between every tooth. Alright, this is what is the speciality of it. Now, coming to what homodont type of teeth is, look at this. All are almost similar. You do not find, especially the crown part of it, you do not find any one of them pointed, one of them flat, one of them with ridges. Okay, all of them are pointy. So, such teeth are homodontic. Then acrodont, yeah, look at this. Thecodont, you can see that half of or one third of the tooth is embedded inside the gums, okay, or bony socket of the skull. Yeah, here also, this is the molar and this is the canine, which are inside the gums. Here we have acrodont, which is just going to form above the gum, which is the whatever is produced, the calcium part, it just goes on getting accumulated, and then a tooth kind of a structure is formed. Ultimately, the purpose of tooth is in mastication, and that is what, if it in any way, if it's going to help the animal, then it is serving the purpose. Purodont tooth, you can see that even these are similar to acrodonts, alright, which arises from the above of the gums. Coming to this particular image here, you have different types of teeth. You have a pair of incisors on one side, you have a single canine, then you have molars, okay, then you have premolars, and then you have the molars. Just look at the structure of the tooth. You also have another image coming up next, but see that every tooth has got a hard structure called as the enamel. Then another part beneath that is the dentine. Okay, Then you have the pulp cavity. This pulp cavity is the one which has the flesh, the blood and blood vessels running through it. Alright, then you have the gum tissue, the soft part, inside which there is this bone. Okay, so this is the bony socket of the skull inside which the tooth is embedded. Is that clear? Yeah. Whenever you go out to a dentition to get your tooth uprooted, and you are always given anesthesia. This is because when this entire tooth is getting uprooted, imagine it is structured, it is fixed into the bone. Just imagine the amount of pain you will have in case there is no anesthesia given to you. Like, I hope you all know that anesthesia is an injection given in order to numb the the nerves or the neurons over there, so that you don't feel the pain. If you feel the pain, then I think that is the toughest pain ever. Okay, other than the process of birthing a child. Okay, but extracting a tooth is equally painful. That's the reason you are given with anesthesia, which wherein the nervous system here is numbed and your tooth is then extracted. And post that, once you get your senses, you will understand, you will still feel the pain, but that is because your blood vessels and nerves and all are connected to this region. Okay, yeah. So moving ahead to the next slide, here we will study about your tongue. Alright, so as mentioned here, structure and function of the strongest muscle. I've already explained in what terms it is strongest. Okay, yeah. So the tongue, starting with this epiglottis. Do you remember this term I just mentioned in the previous session? Okay, just recollect that epiglottis is a flap that covers the esophagus. Okay, and whenever a food is supposed to be swallowed, it goes and in turn flaps over the trachea. So this is the epiglottis. Alright, yeah. Next we have palatopharyngeal arch. Okay, so this is the palate. As I told you, palate is the roof of the tongue. There is a curve which takes that towards the pharynx. So this is that particular arc. Okay, just a second. This is that particular arch. Alright. Then we have palatine tonsils. Tonsils are special structures which they are present on your on both the sides of your, where the tongue ends. When you just open your mouth, deep inside you can find these structures. Okay, lingual tonsils at the end of the tongue. Then we have palatoglossal arc, terminal sulcus, foliate papillae. Okay, these are different types of papillae. Papillae are nothing but specialized structures which are seen histologically, specialized structures that are seen on the tongue. Okay, different papillae you need to keep in mind. Important ones are foliate papillae, circumvallate, because they have different shapes. Okay, dorsum of the tongue. Then you have fungiform papilla, filiform papilla. These papillae, inside them have got the taste buds that help in sensing the taste. Beneath each taste bud, okay, they are connected to the nerve ending, okay, which carries the information in the form of nerve impulse, and this chemical information is converted, like in the brain interprets different types of tastes. Alright, so I'm sure you all are aware of different types of tastes that are present with the mouth senses. Alright, yeah. Coming to the teeth. Okay, yeah, so teeth, the structure of the teeth, as in the previous slide already we have just had a look at it. The above structure, which is hard and white in color and shiny, is the enamel. Internal harder structure is the dentine. Then we have the pulp, which is sensory in nature, like which can feel. It has blood vessels and nerve endings. That's the reason for it. The blood vessels is also shown here and nerve endings. Yeah. Externally, when we just divide the structure of the tooth, we have the crown. Crown is the part which is the visible region. When you just open your mouth, the part that you're able to see of your teeth is called the crown. Neck region is the one which is embedded, like between the gum part. Root is the one which is seen inside the bony structure. Okay, yeah. So when it comes to structure, we have crown, neck, and the root. Parts, we have the enamel, dentine, pulp, yeah, and the cementum. There is another one. There is structure. All right, composition of the tooth. Calcium and phosphorus are the main minerals that help in the formation of the tooth, especially the enamel region. Alright, these are hard, these are minerals that make the tooth hard. Alright, yeah. So next, moving on to the functions of each type of tooth. Incisors help in biting of the food. Then canines help in tearing of the food. Premolars and molars together help in grinding of the food. Alright, yeah. Remember one part in rodents. Rodents as in rats, mouse, rabbits. Alright, these incisors are quite long. Okay, and the other teeth are all small. This is because this is in order. Yeah, they use it for gnawing, and because they use gnawing in the sense continuous biting, whatever they eat is with the help of these canines, these incisors. That's the reason why for continuous use of these incisors, they have grown incisors beyond their normal size. Right, we all are aware how long the front two teeth of these animals are, right? Yeah, so moving ahead, now we will come to the next part, that is the dental formula. Yeah. So standard dental formula is mentioned as I, C, P, M, M, I, C, P, M, M. Okay. So here this stands for incisors, canines, premolars and molars. Okay, what number of this is present in each? Always dentition, the dental formula has to be applied, and we need to see what type of teeth are present in. This represents the upper jaw, upper half of the jaw. Okay, and this represents the lower jaw, half of the jaw. Okay, yeah, from the mid to your left side or from mid to the right side, either of it. Coming to the child's dental formula, every child, okay, has got two incisors, one canine, no premolar and two molars. Followed by that, same on the lower side, two incisors, one canine, no premolar and two molars. Okay, so this accounts for 2 plus 1 plus 2, 5. 2 plus 1 plus 2, 5. This 5 is upper half side, so the other half side will be 10. This 5 is on the lower half side, and the next will be 10. So together 10 plus 10 will be 20. So there are 20 teeth in child, especially in their first set of dentition. What is the milk teeth that we find? It has only 20 teeth. Coming to the adult structure, an adult has two canines, two incisors, one canine, two premolars and three molars. Okay, 2, 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3. Just add it up. 2, 5, okay, 8 on the other side, 16, same lower 8 on the other side, 16 plus 16 makes it 32. But remember a thing, 32 teeth, any adult having a complete set of 32 teeth is a very rare situation in these days. because it is said that the wisdom teeth, the last set of, soon the dental formula will be changing to 2122, because the last set of molars are not seen usually in most of the adults. This is because the jaw line is decreasing, evolution is happening, alright, wherein the length of the jaw is decreasing, and there is no place for the last single set of molars to appear, alright. So very soon, in generations to come, the dental formula is going to change, and probably it may just come to 28. Okay, so let's see. As of now, you remember, do not modify this formula. It is 2123 only, 2123 only, and the adults have 32 teeth, and the child has 20 teeth. Alright, I hope this part is also clear. Moving on to the next slide, we will now look at the pharynx. As told to you, look at this. The pharynx is a common region here. Yeah, just see here. Do you see any demarcation? The coloration, the change in the color has been made in order to make all of us understand, all of you understand. Okay, so you can see that there part of pharynx is associated with the nose, which is close to the nose. We call that as the nasopharynx, right? So this is close association with the respiratory system or the nose. That's why it is the nasopharynx. So close to the nasal cavity. That's why it is nasopharynx. Next is the oropharynx. So this is the mouth, the food is taken, this is the tongue, okay. Whatever food is taken, that then comes here into the oropharynx. The pink color region is the oropharynx, alright. Next, moving ahead, laryngopharynx. Larynx is a structure which is also called as a sound box, alright. So part of pharynx is also the one which gives place for the larynx. So hence that region is called as the laryngopharynx. Alright, so three types of pharynx we find in the human body: nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx. We will focus now presently on the oropharynx. Now just have a look here. This is the oropharynx, alright. The flap, it's not very clearly demarcated here, but if I have to represent and make you recollect this. Consider these as the two pipes, okay. If this is the flap that covers esophagus, when you're swallowing, this flaps over the trachea, okay. So this is how it happens. Yeah. The structure of epiglottis, I've already explained what role epiglottis plays. The flap, okay, that covers esophagus all the time. I'm repeatedly telling this point, so please keep it in mind. The function of pharynx is, again, it helps in directing the food into the esophagus or the food pipe. Alright. Yeah, it serves as a common junction where the entries of the buccal cavity and the nasal cavity meet, and they are properly distributed in their respective tracts. Coming to the esophagus now. Remember, what is this esophagus made up of? It is a long tubular structure, we already know. It is composed of smooth muscles. Again, as I told you, remember, entire alimentary canal is made up of smooth muscles. It is involuntary in nature. Okay, and they are also called as visceral muscles. Alright, involuntary because you cannot control if you want to just hold your food here while swallowing. If you want to hold your food here for the rest of the day, you can't hold. Once swallowed, the muscles will take care of it, and through peristalsis they see that the food bolus reaches your stomach. Whatever gets digested in the stomach then moves to the small intestine when its time comes. The system is not going to ask you for it. Hence it is involuntary. It is not under your will. Okay, and most of the cases smooth muscles are involuntary in nature. Alright, yeah. So the length of the esophagus is about 25 centimeters. The diameter is about 2 centimeters. Associated glands are the mucus glands. I already told you. Remember that, yeah, adventitia. Oh, I'll just come to this part once before I move ahead. Adventitia is another word for serosa. in the previous presentation, it was told to you that the layers of the alimentary canal, there are 4 layers that I told. Outermost layer is called as adventitia also, and also called as the serosa. It is made up of connective tissue that maintains the shape and structure of the alimentary canal throughout. Next part is the muscularis, also called as muscle. Again, I told you this muscle, whatever smooth muscles we told, they are all present in this region, muscularis. Then we have the submucosa and the mucosa. These are the 2 regions where you find all the glands that are going to play their role in the process. So here itself you will find the mucus glands that secrete mucus, not too much, but sufficient enough to keep the movement of the bolus smooth, such that it doesn't undergo any kind of friction. Alright, yeah. Special structures. What is so special about some additional special structure about esophagus are there are 2 sphincters. Now, what are these sphincters? Sphincters are highly elastic band of muscles that are made up of striated muscles. Remember, these are made up of striated muscles. Striated are nothing but skeletal muscles, okay, which have striations. So this special band of muscles we find here. I'll just remember, these are found here at the base of the esophagus and at the beginning of the esophagus. We find 2 sphincters at the beginning of the esophagus and at the base. What is the role of these sphincters? They control the entry and exit of the bolus. Once you swallow, okay, they undergo contraction and they close. Okay, it is like, you have how a rubber band works. Alright, a rubber band which is completely tight, you need to stretch it in order to open it up, right? So similarly, this band is so tight that it almost closes, not completely though, but closes the esophagus. When we swallow something, the muscle, the peristalsis that begins there, it is going to open, release the band, and then the bolus is going to move here. Okay, same thing happens at the end of it. Okay, the last part, the second sphincter. Okay, what we see here, this sphincter is going to control the entry of bolus into the stomach. Whatever you eat, if that has to happen, it would simply go and fall into the stomach, right? But there is a system that controls it, and that happens. These are like the gates of the esophagus, entry and exit gates. Okay. Yeah. What is the main function of esophagus? It is the peristalsis. Peristalsis is the rhythmic movement of the muscles, which help in proper rhythmic sending or proper execution of movement of the bolus. Yeah. This information is something important. Each one of you, please read it properly and try to remember it. Yeah. Esophagus originates at the inferior border of the cricoid cartilage, 6 cartilage, and extends to the cardiac orifice of the stomach, T11. Now, what is this C6 and T11? When we will be studying about locomotion chapter, we will go in detail about this, but I am sure you all are aware that C stands for cervical vertebrae cartilage, 6, okay, and T stands for thoracic cartilage, 11. Okay, yeah. Then we will move. The esophagus begins in the neck region, okay, at the level of C6, already as mentioned. Here it continues superiorly with the laryngeal part of the pharynx. Along with the laryngopharynx, it continues. It descends down into the superior mediastinum of the thorax, positioned between the trachea and the vertebral bodies of T1 to T4. Okay, throughout this region, the length of it goes similar to that of the trachea. Okay, then the thoracic 1 to thoracic 4. It then enters the abdomen through the esophageal hiatus. Hiatus is nothing but the opening, esophageal opening of, like you can see that the I'm sure you all know that the body, the trunk of the body, which starts from the neck up to the lower, before where the legs begin, till that part is called as the trunk of the body. So trunk of the body is divided into the thoracic region and the abdominal region. Okay, so this is the human body. This part, this is the trunk. This part is the thoracic region and this region is the abdominal region. Alright, so esophagus is going to start from the thoracic region, and also it has some portion of it enters the abdomen as well. So the abdominal hiatus, that's the opening through the diaphragm. It cuts through the diaphragm and then enters into the abdomen at T10, that is the thoracic 10 vertebrae. You know why this vertebrae, are considered, starting from cervical vertebrae up to the coccyx. They help in giving you an idea about where the positioning of these particular structures are. So just by having an idea, see, like from thoracic vertebrae 1 to thoracic vertebrae 4, it is a part of thorax. The last but one, there are 12 thoracic vertebrae, right? So 2 before that, it enters into the abdomen and then takes a curve. The abdominal portion of the esophagus is approximately 1.25 centimeters, hardly 1 centimeter or 1.25 centimeter long part is seen in the abdomen. The esophagus part extension in the abdomen is just barely this much. It terminates by joining the cardiac orifice of the stomach at level 11. Okay, the upper sphincter is the anatomical striated muscle. I already told you that the sphincters are striated muscles, okay, at the junction between the pharynx and the esophagus. The one entry gate, what I told you, it is the pharynx. It is present between the pharynx and esophagus. Okay, it is produced by cricopharyngeal muscle. Normally, it is constricted to prevent the entrance of air into the esophagus. I told you the glottis, epiglottis also plays a role, and nature has also provided you another security wherein care is taken that the air does not enter here. See, epiglottis takes care that food does not enter the trachea, and this particular sphincter takes care that the air does not enter the esophagus. Okay, yeah. The lower esopharyngeal sphincter is located at the gastroesophageal junction, that is between the esophagus and the stomach. Okay, this gastroesophageal junction sphincter is also called as a cardiac sphincter because it is very closely present to the heart. The sphincter is when you just look at the body and just look at it, just below the heart you find this particular sphincter, which is very close in association with the heart. The gastroesophageal junction is situated to the left of 11 vertebra and is marked by the change from esophageal to gastric mucosa. Yeah, this is the structure of it, plain structure. This is the upper sphincter constriction. Okay. Then you have all of this entirely made up of smooth muscles, middle esophageal constriction. Then you have the lower esophageal constriction. Just look at this. This is the diaphragm, transparent one. Once the diaphragm ends, anything below diaphragm is the abdomen. This part is the thorax. Yeah, so you can barely see, hardly 1 to 1.5 centimeter is a part of the thorax. Yeah, just have a look here. This is the trachea. This is the blood vessel arising from the heart. Okay, look at this. They form a kind of band. This is how our entire body is structured. So many structures and all are very closely associated with each other. Alright, yeah. Look at this. This is cervical 6 to 7, thoracic 3, 4 and thoracic 10 and 11. Once we are done with this, we will move to the next part, that is the stomach. Yeah. Stomach is again made up of smooth muscles. Length of the stomach, entire length of the stomach is, length of the stomach is about 30 centimeters. the diameter of the stomach, the longest, largest space, that is 15 centimeters. Associated glands, as I told you, we have gastric glands that are embedded inside the mucosa and submucosa layers, especially the submucosa layers of the alimentary canal. Two specialized structures. Again, here you find two sphincters. One is the cardiac sphincter at the opening of the stomach, and the other is the pyloric sphincter. Okay, this is the pylorus. Yeah, parts of the stomach. Again, we cannot exactly distinguish how different do they look, different in color or anything as such, but fundus is it forms the head or cap of the stomach, the main body. Okay, and then we have the pyloric region. Okay, yeah. So the stomach opens into the small intestine, and the first part of the small intestine is the duodenum. Okay. Yeah. Main function of stomach is churning of food. Whenever the bolus falls into it, it always falls into an ocean of acids and the secretions from the stomach. It drops into this, chemical breakdown of it takes place, and it forms what we call as the chyme. Chyme is a semi-liquid content that is formed by the mixture of all the secretions of the stomach along with the food that has come into in the form of bolus. Okay, so we call that process as churning of food. Okay, look at the arrangement of the muscularis here. Yeah, this is the cardia region close to the heart. Fundus is a part where gas gets accumulated. There is another interesting point I would like to tell you here. You all might have some of you might have come across a situation where somebody complains about heartache, okay, or chest pain, and they are admitted to the hospital thinking that they've got some kind of minor or major heart attack, but later they get to know that it is simply some kind of gas problem, because of which the heart was there was an heartache. What happens is, just as I told you in the previous slide, food, whatever liquid is there, it gets accumulated here. Okay, and the food that falls into it undergoes chemical digestion, will be happening here, and as a part of the reactions, all these reactions produce gas. They all produce it all produces gas. The gas gets accumulated here. Okay, all of the gas gets accumulated. Sometimes if the kind of food that we have eaten is the one that produces lots of gas, lot of gas is produced, and this starts to exert pressure above. Just imagine you're pumping air into a balloon. To what extent can it can you blow it? Alright, it has certain limit. So once this gas accumulation starts here, there is pressure exerted by the stomach on the chest cavity or the thoracic cavity. That also that results in pain, which sometimes is confused with some kind of a heart problem. Alright, so please that's the reason it is said that we should know what we should be eating. Yeah, now just move to this types of muscles arrangement here. Muscular layer, when we say, it is not simply made up of single layer. There are arrangements of different of muscles arranged in different patterns. Like you have longitudinal layer, where you see that the muscles are longitudinally arranged. Circular layer, where the muscles are arranged in this pattern. And you have oblique layer, where the muscles are arranged in this pattern. Why do you think such arrangement is necessary? This is to bring out proper contraction and relaxation, which further pushes the contents in a right direction. As I told you, this particular structure is not a voluntary one, so we cannot control how it happens. So internally, the contraction and relaxations only are going to bring about the movement of the contents throughout the alimentary canal. So peristalsis happens, and to assist the peristalsis further, the muscles are arranged in this pattern. Okay, yeah. So this is the curvature of the stomach. Then we have the pyloric sphincter. Okay, pyloric canal. Then here is the sphincter. You can just see this. No, it's a complete closure because of high elastic muscle band. All right, yeah. The greatest curve of the stomach. Now coming to another important structure, that is the rugae. You all are aware of what villi are, right? So villi are the infoldings of the small intestine, right? Now rugae, like that, are flat foldings. You know, this resembles, for a long time, if you have kept your fingers in water, once you take it out, there are wrinkles that are formed, right? So that structure is similar to that of the rugae. You can see the way these wrinkles are. These are infoldings, flat and broad infoldings of the stomach, which again help in, they have various glands, as I told you, inside the layers. But the presence of this kind of uneven surface helps in proper movement, turning, and for churning of food that finally forms the chyme. Right? We'll move to the next slide. Coming to the small intestine. Small intestine is again made up of smooth muscles, and it is the longest part, which makes it about 6 meters. Initially, I told you that the entire alimentary canal was 9 meters long, and just imagine 6 meters in that is already occupied by the small intestine. What rest is left? Barely 3 meters. Okay, so 6 meters length, which is about 600 centimeters, 1 inch wide small intestine lumen is seen. Associated glands are the intestinal glands. Alright, they are all called as crypts of Libercun. Alright, villi are the special structures. Okay, suppose this is the interior line of the intestine. Villi are finger-like projections, because of which the food that would get, suppose there are, for example, 10 particles of food getting absorbed in this region. Here, because of this kind of surface, there will be around 100 molecules of food that can get absorbed. So that is the purpose of villi, is to increase the surface area of absorption. Alright, so what is the function mainly? It is a chemical breakdown and absorption of food. All of the food that we eat does not get digested in the stomach. Most of it gets digested in the intestine as well, and also gets absorbed in the intestine. Alright, we need to remember this. Saying so, we will, 3 parts of the small intestine as mentioned previously. Duodenum is the shortest part. You can see the yellow color. How long is it? Barely little. Jejunum is the blue part. Lastly, the ileum, the pink part. Mostly the absorption takes place in the end of the jejunum and entire ileum region. Okay? Yeah. Just have a look at the structure of villi over here. Yeah, internally, here is a clear image. You can see that there are so many foldings that appeared in this way. Each villus has internally got the capillaries, blood capillaries, and the lacteal. Lacteal is a part of the lymph system. Okay, it contains, it absorbs fats. Okay, when we come to that part, we will cover it there as well. But just to give you a brief idea, it absorbs the lipids, and capillaries, as I told you, part of the circulatory system, absorbs the food that are sent into the villi. Okay, they absorb the digested food and circulate it throughout the body. Another diagrammatic view tell you how exactly the villi are present. On villi, we again have smaller projections called as a microvilli. Okay, look at this here. Microvilli, they form brush border appearance they give. Again, the same purpose of microvilli is to increase the surface area for absorption. But a small disadvantage of presence of microvilli is that lot of microorganisms, pathogens, what we say, endoparasites, they get grip to hold on to the microvilli, and they get a chance to stay. They hook into the microvilli and stay in the small intestine as endoparasites. Okay, that is one disadvantage, but nevertheless, the body finds its way to throw out these pathogens. Yeah. Coming to the last part, that is the large intestine. Large intestine is made up of smooth muscles and it is 1.5 meter. Let's just go back to the calculation. In 9 meters, we already minused 6 meters and gave it to small intestine. How much was left? 3 meters. In this 3 meters, we minus 1.5 forms the large intestine. What more is left? Barely 1.5. So, esophagus, last part of anus, all of this barely are going to form 1.5 meters of the alimentary canal. Alright, diameter of large intestine is more, that is 3 centimeters. Alright, associated glands are mucus glands again. Special structures, I mentioned about appendix to you in the previous slides before. Appendix, I told you, it is not a very useful structure in human body. Here it, since you can see, it's just as a vestigial organ here, does not play any major role, but sometimes can be a pain because it might undergo infection called as appendicitis. Yeah, function is absorption of water and elimination of unabsorbed food, unabsorbed or either undigested food from the body. Look at this, there is some calculation dimensions given regarding cecum is 8.7 centimeters, ascending colon is 6.6 centimeters, transverse colon is 5.8 centimeters, descending colon is 6.3. This part is a sigmoid, which is this S-shaped curvature. Rectum is 5.7, and finally the anal opening. Yeah. So with this, I would like to tell you that we have covered the initial part of the entire explanation of digestion, absorption, the anatomical structure, okay, and briefly the functions of each and every part of the alimentary canal. Furthermore, in the next coming sessions, we will move to the digestive glands, their functions, and all the chemical reactions that happen, okay, mainly the metabolic processes, how it takes place, and we will see that we will look at different disorders that the body can encounter in case there is improper maintenance of the system. Saying so, in the next class we will also go through some questions, alright, depending on the portions that we have covered till now. See you all.